Hello, just putting in my second edition of the Soul Speak blog, and it happens to be my birthday today. 51 years old, proud of it, and just wanted to do this blog from a perspective of how did I get here? And what's the purpose of this? And I talked about the purpose of it a little bit last time, but I want to get a little bit more into why I'm doing this and how I came to get to this point in my own life. Grew up Catholic. Nothing wrong with that. Somewhere along the line, I realized that there were things about the teachings within the Catholic Church that didn't feel right to me, and probably started very early, actually, in grade school, and the idea that if you weren't baptized in the Catholic Church, you couldn't go to heaven. Well, it just didn't really make sense to me. I mean, why would just the fact that you were born into a family that was of a different religion or different viewpoint, why would that condemn you to never be able to go to heaven? It just didn't make sense. And why was the Catholic religion right when the majority of the people weren't Catholic? So things just started working through my head, and it was I have no problem with my Catholic background because it taught me a lot. There were a lot of good things that came out of that. It gave me my initial connection with God, with source energy, whatever you want, however you want to refer to that. And so it did serve to begin to build my foundation. And then from there, as I think we all do, we expand what our viewpoint is. We expand our perspective. That's what life's about. We're not here to have all the answers when we first get here and then stop. Just go with that. Just hang on to that. Just, be that. We're not here for that. So what we're here trying to do is to expand our awareness and to experience being who we really are within this environment, within this place. So, grew up Catholic, left the church at a fairly early age. Basically, I don't know officially, but basically around early 20s, I quit going. And at that point, just pushed it all away. And in suppressing that, I think it contributed to a lot of issues that I didn't do a very good job of dealing with as I was a young adult into the early middle age. I guess I'm pretty much middle aged now, but but had a lot of, life just kind of went like this, and it seemed like it was more this direction than this direction. And so I finally, about 14 or 15 years ago, I sort of rediscovered my path to God, or to my spiritual self. And did that through the writings of Neil Donald Walsh, my favorite author. And his initial book, Conversations with God, Book 1, an Uncommon Dialogue. And it was funny because I was just in the store doing some Christmas shopping, and his book just caught my attention. It had a kind of a white cover, and it just caught my eye, and I went over to it. I picked it up. Of course, the title, Conversations with God, that caught my attention as well. I picked it up, kind of glanced through it, and then put it back, and went on with my shopping. And couldn't get it out of my head. Just couldn't. I mean, I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And a couple months later, finally, I picked up the book. And only had time really to read it in the evening, and not that much time there. I had a young daughter. Caitlin was 2-3 years old at the time. And so didn't get a lot of time. But within 3 evenings, I finished the book. And for me, that was something, because I'm not a fast reader, and I've not been much of a reader through my life. But if things were really, really drew me in, then I would read them. And so, read this book. It just struck a chord with me, and couldn't wait for the second one to come out, and the third one, and it just, each one built on itself, and it just, as I read through it, and I've read it several times, as I read through it, all of these things that I inherently knew were being said. I hadn't really thought them consciously. I hadn't really, defined them, but it was being said right there in the book. And that started me back on this path. And you never really get off the path, but you sort of, I think in life we sort of take a winding road, long and winding road, like the Beatles. It just, it's never a straight path. And I've said to myself and to a few other people, when I was young, I always thought that wisdom was a better thing to have than knowledge. And I still believe that to be true. The thing is, the key to becoming wise or finding wisdom is going through difficult times. When you get on an even keel, you don't get wisdom from that. You don't find wisdom in easy, smooth life. You get that from experience, and all kinds of experiences. But anyway, that's how I got into this place, and that's how I began my journey here. And what I'm doing with this particular blog and with the website that I have is I want to share my experiences of getting in touch with my true self, my soul, and what that experience has been like for me, and maybe some of what I have learned, what I have experienced will be beneficial for you. And so I hope you'll continue to join me, and happy birthday to me, happy birthday to everybody out there. I hope you have a great day.